Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Villanova Ballpark at Plymouth Township for today's Perky Valley Twilight League game between the Collegeville White Sox and the Towamencin Bats. My name is Ryan Straub. I'm joined here with Tyson Maddox. Tyson, how are you feeling about today's matchup?
Feeling pretty good. Feeling is pretty interesting. As noted in some previous games, the White Sox, they used to have two of the best players in the league. They had actually the ranked best pitcher and also best player. So it'll be interesting to see how they navigate without those two players. And I believe their record is 1-2 to start. So I guess not off to the start they might want.
We're getting ready for first pitch here. Beautiful Villanova Stadium. Weather finally starting to clear up, too. Last week was a complete washout. Cold, rainy weather. Finally a great night for some baseball. The first pitch of tonight's ball game is in there for a called strike from number 9, Benny Wilson, making his third appearance and his first start on the season.
There's a nice fastball just lowing in.
The 0-1 outside. In 3 1/3 innings pitched this year, Wilson's given up 5 hits, 3 earned runs, and he struck out 5. So that 1-1 pitches up. Count will be 2-1.
Yeah, his four-seam, he has that sort of sidearm release, so it's always going to have a little bit of tail. And sometimes, especially against lefties, as a right-handed pitcher, that can be a little tough to navigate.
It's the 2-1 is swung on and missed. Leading off for Towamencin is number 30, Nathan Woodbury, playing left field today. Digs back in here for this 2-2 pitch, which is right down the middle for a called strike 3.
Woodbury with 250 average, couple RBIs, couple hits, but unfortunately just didn't see something they liked and
I don't know if it's just that he didn't like it. I think he knew it was a strike. He just couldn't pull the trigger on the swing almost. He had a kind of a weird reaction to that strike 3 call.
Yeah. Again, with that tail, it can be a little tough because sometimes it might feel a little too inside and just sneak its way in there, but you gotta protect.
Absolutely,
That's
yeah.
what you gotta do.
It's that first pitch to Christopher McKenna. Looks pretty good from up here in the press box, but it'll be a ball. The 1-0.
Yeah, I think that was the first off-speed pitch we saw, although just to speak a little bit about McKenna, 364 average, OPS plus 106. He is off to a very good start for the Bats.
The 2-0 is popped in the air center field. That is Feaster out there who settles under it and makes the catch for out number 2.
And just a little bit under that one, but first inning, just trying to see what the pitcher's throwing, see what he's doing. Bring back some info hopefully for your teammates. So,
right.
Even though Woodbury struck out, he saw 5 pitches, so certainly not the worst way to go, even if it's still an out.
Both of these teams did play yesterday. Towamencin defeating the Valley Forge Aces 8-7. As that first pitch is lined right field, it'll get down for extra bases.
He's got some speed on him, although it doesn't look like he's going to get past second. That was Austin Frank with a, again, 455 average. He's even hotter than McKenna, and there you go. Another hit, another big hit.
First pitch swinging there, too. Yeah, he saw something he liked and drove it to right field.
Yeah.
But as I was saying, so both teams coming off a win. Towamencin an 8-7 win yesterday against the Valley Forge Aces. Collegeville winners 12-4 yesterday versus the Trooper Tribe. So a runner on second here with 2 outs. The batter will be Aiden Fitch. Kind of like that JT Real Muto looking stance.
Yeah, with the bat a little bit out front, then he pulls it back.
Very stagnant.
Unfortunately, starting off the season with a 143 average, so maybe a little too similar to JT, at least early JT in this case. But
right. He does have 1 hit on the season, and it is a home run. So he definitely has shown some pop early in this Perky Valley season.
Yeah. It seems the pitcher knows that well. Trying to get that curveball very, very away. Make sure it doesn't hang it for him to hit it out to left field. It's not too bad of a field to hit in, so.
Wilson taking a look. Fires that 1-1 in there, swung on and missed for strike 2.
That's certainly a pitch that Fitch would want to really get on.
So 2 quick outs to start the inning for Wilson, but then he gives up that 2-out double to Austin Frank. Has his sign and comes set. 1-2. Check swing, appeal, and he did swing, says the home plate umpire. And so Wilson gets Fitch swinging for out number 3 here at this top of the first inning.
You know, you noted that Fitch, he sort of had a JT stance. Wilson, he almost, to me, kind of looked like Matt Strom with sort of the straight front leg, a lot of bend in the back.
Right.
Just not as many sort of little steps every time he comes set, as it were.
Welcome back here for the bottom of the first on the Sports Fanbase Network. Leading off for Collegeville is number 13, Kyle Feaster, playing center field. First pitch to him, just a bit inside for ball 1. Getting the ball today for Towamencin is number 99, Connor Smith, making his second appearance in his first start of the season. The 1-0 is fouled back.
Yeah, Feaster doing really well in the season so far, hitting 500, home run and a triple in some of those games as well.
One is way up there. I'll make it 2-1. In 1 1/3 innings pitched this year, Connor Smith has given up 3 hits, an earned run, and he struck out 3. So not too bad numbers in some pretty limited appearances so far. The 2-1 is fouled back. And Feaster coming off an explosive performance yesterday against Trooper Tribe. He had 3 hits, including that homer that you mentioned. The 2-2 is flied right field. Kelly under it and makes the catch for out number 1.
Nice and easy there, although not super enviable of the right fielder due to the fact the sun's really going to be pointing his way.
Yeah.
It'd be fun to
that could pose some
get
problems.
those fly balls.
The sun is setting here in Plymouth meeting. 1 away here for Joey Lancelotti. First pitch is in there for a called strike. Lancelotti, number 31, playing second base today for Collegeville.
I watched Lancelotti in when the White Sox played the Aces. Very good defender. Very good defender. He was able to make some tough plays out there.
1-1 is down and out for ball 2. Connor Smith kind of in that. He's a tall kid out there. Got a pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of an imposing figure. Stands very straight up
Yeah, sort
when
of.
he's getting his sign.
It's almost towering.
Exactly,
in a way.
yeah.
He's got some decently long legs and certainly has a long stride when he pitches.
2-2 swung on and missed for strike 3.
Good
Smith kind
pitch.
of jumps off the mound there,
Yeah.
letting his momentum take him there.
Yeah, certainly getting that first sort of off-speed swing and miss certainly is sort of the best way to get your momentum as a pitcher. And so, totally understand him feeling the hype with that one.
So 2 quick outs here. The batter will be Cody Clark. So that first pitch is up and out. Clark, number 19, playing first base today. Hitting .222 with a .364 OBP.
Yeah.
The 1-0 is fouled back. So far on the season, Clark's recorded 2 singles and an RBI. So while he's not showcasing too much power yet, he's able to also draw some walks and get on base.
Is
Is that 1-1 in there for a called strike 2? Smith has his sign, working quickly, comes set the 2-2.
I was to say he must be really feeling it. The way he gets
Yeah,
on the mound, he's nodding immediately. The catcher really must know what he really is liking right now.
I was just going to say, he kind of got that sign and just went with it.
Yeah, did for the last 2. Make that 3.
The 3-2 just misses off the outside corner, so Clark draws the 2-out walk.
Maybe you might be working a little bit too quickly, because those last 3 where he was really worked up, really moving fast, I believe were all balls. So
He did. He kind of lost that at bat there. He had Clark 1 and 2 and threw 3 straight balls. So similar to the top half of this first inning, first 2 batters get out, and then the third hitter is a base runner with 2 outs.
thanks, on.
First pitch to Collegeville in there for a called strike. Jensen hitting .545 so far on this young season with a .1455 OPS.
Yeah.
That 0-1 is fouled down the right field line. It'll go out of play.
Yeah, obviously the season is pretty young, so the stats pretty skewed, but 287 OPS plus. I mean,
That's legit.
yeah, it's as hot as you can get to start a season.
I mean, he's got 6 hits, a double and a homer. He's also driven in 5 runs.
Oh,
Is that 0-2 pitch on the outside corner for a called strike 3?
sorry for my bit of a reaction up here. Look, a little outside from my point of view.
Yeah,
but
I think Smith might have got the benefit of the doubt there, but we are going to go to the top of the second inning here on the Sports Fan Base Network.
Yeah, checking the replay here. Yeah, maybe he just caught the plate early on, but certainly at the end of that, it looked a bit outside to me.
back here on the top of the second inning on the Sports Fan Base Network. Score is 0-0. That first pitch of the inning way inside to Justin DeSarce. DeSar, I don't really know how to pronounce that name. I'm not going to lie. That 1-0 is on the outside corner.
By the way, for that first pitch, you almost wonder if you could just turn a little bit.
That front left leg,
You know, because
get yourself a hit by pitch.
especially on a curveball, it's definitely not going to hurt you.
That 1-1 on the ground to the third baseman, McCouch, who's up with it and fires in time for out number 1.
It's certainly an interesting field here at Villanova. A turf infield, grass outfield, but the grass is very short. So,
Almost emulating a turf in a way.
Yeah. So, in some ways, if you get a line drive like I believe Frank did, if you get a line drive like Frank, it's really going to go back to the wall, but on a grounder, it's going to be pretty easy for the infield if it isn't hit that hard.
First pitch to Joseph Santora, inside for ball 1. Santora, number 8, behind the dish today for Towamencin, hitting .444 with a 500 OPP and a 1056 OPS.
Yeah.
That pitch is in there for a called strike.
So OPS plus of 127 and BABIP of 667.
He's collected 4 hits, including a double, and he's driven in 2 runs so far this year. 1-1 just misses.
It feels like Wilson still isn't fully comfortable up there. I imagine that going from turf to dirt, going back and forth, might not be
Ideal.
for him, especially, even with rubber cleats or turf shoes. I feel, personally, I always felt like you're still slipping out there.
Absolutely, yeah. It's tough to get that traction. Well, regardless, he's got Santora here at a 2-2 count. He's given up just the 1 hit so far. That 2-out double on the top of the first to Austin Frank. The 2-2. Just a bit up. And that'll run the count full.
Really interesting here with Santora, his hands being so close to his body to start out. I feel like never, and then also straight vertical. I feel like I've never seen that.
The 3-2 on the ground through the 6-hole and into left field for a base hit.
It's a nice, easy single there right through the gap. And like I said, if you can hit it hard in turf infield, it's just going to skip.
It's just going to skip and go.
But if you hit it weak, with the turf, it's so consistent. It's going to be tough to luck into something. But that's just nice
Santora hit it hard enough and in the right spot there for a 1-out single.
Yeah. Increases average to 500 now.
That'll bring up number 23, Colin Stockland, playing second base today for Towamencin. First pitch to him is fouled back.
So far hasn't recorded a hit yet, but with 1 guy on, 1 out,
Opportunity's presenting itself.
It's a great time to get some momentum and get some going for your team.
As that pitch is chopped on the ground. McCouch, the third baseman, fielded it, tried for the play at second. Ball was dropped by the second baseman, Lancelotti. I think the runner would have been safe there anyway, don't you think?
It would have been close. I think, with how things go, the ball looked like it got there first, probably would have been called out, but certainly would have been a close play. And for the White Sox, 1 out, man on first, second. Of course, you can turn 2, but now you got.
I'm not sure McCouch would have had to play it first there anyway. That was a deep. He was kind of behind the bag there at third. So 2 runners on here for John Bennett. That first pitch is down for ball 1. Swung on and missed.
Wilson and the White Sox not really worrying too much about at least the runner on second base. Wilson not really looking too much. The infielders haven't really done too much in terms of throwing the runners off.
1-1 in there for a called strike 2. Not really sure where Bennett kind of shaking his head there.
Yeah, it looked.
Maybe he didn't get what he was looking for, but that pitch, I mean, looked pretty right down the middle to me.
Yeah.
1-2. Swung on and missed for strike 3. A big strikeout there for Wilson.
Yeah,
Serve as the second out of this second inning.
Really needed that one on what I assume was a slider there.
I would say a slider.
But certainly he could tell as the pitcher, threw one down the middle, guy shaking his head, knew he should have swung on it. He's going to get a little bit desperate, and so you throw the slider outside, more likely to swing on that one.
So still a runner on first and second here. 2 away for Jack Kelly. Swings and misses at that first pitch. Santora takes his lead off of second. Stockland off of first. And as you said, yeah, no covers from anyone there on those bases.
Understandable now. Last thing you want with 2 outs is, a missed pickoff. But, I thought maybe with 1 run, they might try to dissuade guys from doing too much movement just to,
We do get a pickoff attempt here. Santora back safely.
Yeah. But not even to necessarily pick off, but just to
keep the runner honest.
Keep the runner honest, sort of help the pitcher change up his timing a little bit.
1-1 from Wilson. Down for ball 2.
It certainly feels like Santora is pretty far off that bag.
He is getting a big lead, drawing a lot of attention now from Wilson. Two 2-1. Big hack from Kelly there. Misses for strike 2.
Yeah, that was the pitch you got to hit right there. At least get that in play. I mean, don't know how much better stuff you're going to see.
2-2. Popped up left side. McCouch and Hutchinson giving chase. And neither of them are going to have a play. Count will remain 2-2.
Interesting there. Wilson was actually already doing his changeup grip before the pitch, and it looks like that might have been what he went for there.
Yeah.
So, just might want to watch out for that. Easy sort of giveaway for the batters there.
Wilson has his sign. Comes set. 2-2. Runner goes from second. The pitch is swung on and missed for strike 3.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. It could have been a pretty easy hit, run scored there if just on a single there with Santora taking that huge lead, right?
Towamencin threatens there with 2 runners left on base. We'll go to the bottom of the second on the Sports Fan Base Network. Welcome back here for the bottom of the second on the Sports Fan Base Network. Leading off for Collegeville, number 22, Mike Hutchinson, playing left field today. First pitch to him is upstairs for ball one.
So Hutchinson also having a good start of the season, 286 average, OPS of 116. OPS plus, I should say.
1-0 on the inside corner. Yeah, and Hutchinson, despite limited slugging production, he's definitely shown an ability to get on base. As that 1-1 is hit on the ground to the second baseman, Stockland. Nice easy play for him for out number one.
Yep. It's a nice easy grounder. Right over there. And the nice thing with turf, it's just so consistent. Like, you're never really going to get those crazy bounces that you'll see on grass. I mean, even though the grass is short in the outfield, you know, there's still always something out there.
First pitch to Kevin Riley in there for a called strike. And yeah, to your point, it's not necessarily the grass in grass infield. It's more the dirt and, you know, the little rocks that sometimes can cause problems. As that 0-1 is swung on and missed for strike two. But when you have this turf infield, every ground ball is just, if it's a manageable speed, it's an easy play. 0-2 outside. Not a bad pitch there from Smith. See if he can get Riley chasing.
Yeah, maybe set up a little too far, and certainly just felt like there was never really a shot for...
As that 1-2 is on the outside corner for a called strike three.
And maybe it set up Riley, but certainly that previous pitch, it just felt like it was never in the zone enough to want to chase. So then he, throws that fastball outside, looks similar enough, and Riley just caught it watching.
So 2 away here. Mark McCouch is the batter, number 28, playing third base today for the White Sox. Hitting .333 with 400 OPP. 1-0 is upstairs.
And just a few singles so far, but that's all that matters. You get on base, right? So
2-0 is in there for a called strike. (2-1) upstairs. Yeah, like you said, nothing wrong with singles.
Nothing wrong.
That consistent contact, that ability to get on base, you're going to be reliable in any lineup.
Absolutely.
3-1, hit right field. It'll get down for a 2-out single.
There's another one.
So right on cue, McCouch with a 2-out single. That'll bring up the right fielder, Johnny Giordano.
And again, you saw there as the count sort of got high with Smith, he got ahead early, he got his 2 outs, he sort of starts speeding up, and his fastball gets higher and higher and higher. And you see he took a second, took a break, and immediately fastball came back down. So it just seems like something for him to watch out for in the future.
Right, and this is identical to that first inning where he gets the first 2 guys and then he gives up a 2-out base runner, failing to kind of keep his composure. That 1-0 is foul tipped. We'll make it 1-1. Giordano hitting 100 on the year with a single hit and a 200 OPS across 10 plate appearances. He has driven in 2 runs, but he has struck out 4 times, and he hasn't reached base with a walker hit by pitch. That pitch is popped up to the shortstop, Frank. Can of corn for him out there in shallow left field.
Yep.
So a pretty consistently good inning again there from Smith. We'll go to the top of the third on the Sports Fan Base Network. back here for the top of the third on the Sports Fan Base Network. Leading off for Towamencin, Nathan Woodbury. Top of the lineup here. That first pitch is fouled back behind the plate.
Yeah, I imagine he's going to want to go for that fastball now that he's sort of seen what Wilson has, especially for a lefty. It's just going to either it's often going to be too outside or it's going to land nicely in the zone for him.
The 0-1 is fouled back. That'll make it 0-2. Scoreless game here so far, top of the third inning. The 0-2 on the ground, back right at Wilson, who kind of nonchalantly fields it and throws over to first for out number 1.
Always scared of pitchers fielding, except for Ranger Suarez.
That's exactly who I was just going to mention.
Even then, like it's almost weird to me how nonchalant he is. Just because every pitcher I've known, or at least pitcher only I've known, it seems like a mission for them to field, but him, he can do it.
One away here for Christopher McKenna. First pitch drops in there for a called strike.
I don't know if it's just me. Does it feel like he's closer to the plate than last time? I don't know.
I'm not sure if his back foot was on that back white chalk line last time as well.
Yeah.
Maybe making an adjustment here.
See, because that first pitch, that curve, feels like if he were to swing fully extended, it would be sort of right in the middle of his bat. But
1-1 is popped up right side. Get out of play.
see, I think 4 hits total today, 3 by Towamencin and 1 by Collegeville. So bit of a pitcher duel so far.
1-2 appeal, check swing and a swing for strike 3, says the first place umpire.
I have to agree. That was definitely way too far.
You know McKenna's upset because you never want to swing on that high heater.
Yeah, striking out on a check swing might be the most frustrating way to end an at-bat. That and popping up foul behind home plate.
Oh.
2 away here for Austin Frank. Off speed in there for a called strike. Frank doubled to right field in his last at-bat. That 0-1 outside.
That was a lovely first pitch there. Almost
Looks like a gyro sort of curve or slider, the way it looked like it was really going to go right at Frank and then just swoop right back in.
1-1, hit in the air, right field. Giordano back into his right. Settles under it and makes the catch for out number 3. So 1-2-3, top of the third inning there for Wilson.
Unfortunate for Frank, it seems like he is making at least good connections, just not perfect. And so there's the out. But again, he's hitting 462. He's doing just fine.
We'll go to the bottom of the third on the Sports Fan Base Network. Welcome back here for the bottom of the third on the Sports Fan Base Network. Leading off the inning for Collegeville is their pitcher, Benny Wilson. Goes first pitch swinging, fouls it back. I got to say that hack drew a bit of laughter from the Collegeville dugout.
Oh, boy.
The 0-1 upstairs.
See, not often you see a pitcher hitting these days. So.
I was just going to say, I think they might be kind of amused at this prospect that they're watching right now.
Oh, man.
1-1. Hit in the air right field. Kelly back into his left, makes the catch for out number 1.
You know, not a bad connection. Not bad at all.
I mean, and Wilson is not a small guy either, so
No.
he at least he passes the eye test of potentially being an intimidating hitter.
Certainly, if he gets a good connection, he has the leverage to do it with his tall and lanky frame. So it'll be interesting to see next couple of bats.
One away here for the leadoff hitter, Kyle Feaster. That first pitch is down for ball 1.
Said earlier, definitely feasting, but Collegeville with only 1 hit so far, definitely need to get it going.
That pitch is on the ground to the second baseman, Stockland. He's up with it and fires over to first for out number 2.
Yep.
And so I think it is safe to say that we definitely have a pitcher's duel on our hands here.
Certainly a pitcher's duel. I mean,
Wilson has kind of scattered those 3 Towamencin hits, and Connor Smith looks fantastic here so far today.
Yeah,
That first pitch to Lancelotti's hit in the air right side. This is our giving chase. No one's going to have a play. Long run for the second baseman, Stockland there. To no avail.
yeah, unfortunately for Collegeville, it just seems like they're just not hitting in the right spot. They're always under, or they're just rolling over it. It's an easy grounder for the infield, or an easy fly out to the outfield. So, I hope to see at least they can just get that in that magic sweet spot of just getting some line drives. Sure, a couple might go right to a fielder, but certainly help their prospects to win this game.
The 0-1 chopped left side. Shortstop Frank goes up with it. Fires over to first for out number 3. So a 1-2-3 bottom of the third there for Connor Smith.
So that's just a good play by Frank. You can't even be upset if you're Lancelotti. Sure, it's frustrating because you want to get on base, but guy does that. Nothing more you can really do.
Not much you can do, yeah. We'll go to the top of the 4th here on the Sports Fan Base Network. Welcome you back here for the top of the 4th on the Sports Fan Base Network. Eden Fitz sets a lead off for Towamencin. First pitch to him is hit softly on the ground to the third baseman, McCouch. Makes a nice play for out number 1. So 1 pitch, 1 out in what we have officially now declared as a pitcher's duel.
It is a pitcher's duel. I mean, I don't know if it was just inside, maybe a broken bat. Oh, they're checking it. It looks like it's broken.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that reaction there from Austin Frank might have just told you that.
Yep. Or Fitch, I believe, right? It was number 19. Either way. Yeah, just no one really making that good of contact so far today, unfortunately. And so pitchers are put in the zone, which is their job, but at the same time, you have to admit, guys are getting on and they're fouling it off. They're hitting it in play. It's just they're not hitting it well.
1-0 pitch, swung on and missed for strike one by Cesar. 1-1 count here with one out in the top of the fourth inning. Score is still 0-0. Drops in there for a called strike two.
I wonder, Cesar, he might be a little annoyed at his teammate for such a fast at bat. He had to run over for that foul ball. Barely been able to catch his breath since that then led to the last out, and now he's hitting.
That 1-2 swung on and missed for strike three. So Wilson gets Cesar swinging for out number two.
So a good amount of strikeouts here for both Wilson and Smith today.
So 2 away here. The batter will be Joseph Santora. First pitch to him in there for a called strike.
So his average is up to 500 now. Wonder if he'll be able to keep that going.
Yeah,
How
after
long
that
he'll be able to keep that
second
going.
inning single, yeah. That is a tough pace to keep up. 0-1 in there for a called strike two. Wilson seems to be getting stronger as this game goes on. He kind of ran into a little bit of trouble in those first 2 innings.
Yeah.
That first inning double by Frank, and then that second inning where he had first and second, 1 out.
So plenty of pitchers are like that. As he throws that, I'm assuming it seemed to be, to me, a breaking ball for a ball. Some guys, they just start off slow, and they need to sort of work into it, and now that he's really worked into it, I mean, a lot of first pitch strikes now, and seems to really be hitting his spots.
As a sign for this 1-2. Hit softly on the ground, left side. McCouch is up with it, and Santora slipped coming out of the box, and he's not going to really make a full effort sprint there. And that'll be the third out of this top of the fourth inning. We will go ahead.
I was going to say, unfortunately, no. Probably wouldn't have been safe. I mean, that was pretty easy ground to the shortstop, but at the same time, you never want to see a guy slip.
Absolutely.
You
Tough
want
break
to see
for
him
him.
make the play.
Tough break for him. So we will go to the bottom of the fourth on the Sports Fan Base Network. Welcome you back here for the bottom of the fourth on the Sports Fan Base Network. First pitch of the inning is swung on and missed for strike one by Cody Clark. Oh, 1 on the outside corner, so Smith quickly out to an 0-2 count here in what is a pretty big inning in this game, facing the heart of the Collegeville lineup.
Yep.
The 0-2 bounced in front of the plate.
Again, you almost wonder if we have a pitch clock going away. It's a pretty fast-paced game so
This
far.
pace, yeah. Both pitchers working extremely fast. 1-2 upstairs. I mean, yeah, there's been 4 pitches in this at bat, and I think it's maybe been a 45-second at bat. It feels like a pitch every 10 seconds.
You know, see for Clark, I mean, you know, a lot of batters, they like to, you know, take a step out, do something, but Smith hasn't really given him a chance to step out.
Stockland able to make that play for out number 1.
And still the Collegeville guys, I mean, both teams really, but especially Collegeville,
Still just rolling it over.
Yeah, a lot
Too
of soft
much.
contact. Colin Jensen is the batter. That pitch is chopped up the middle and into center field for a base hit. Jensen goes first pitch swinging there. Serve as the second Collegeville hit of this ball game.
See, now with an average of 583 with that hit, I mean, him, Feaster, and McCouch really seem to be the
The heads of the snake
heads of
almost.
you say so far. I mean, they're spaced out, which makes it interesting.
Pick-off attempt.
Although McCutcheon 250 certainly to start the season is not bad at all. So again, you just hope just a couple of hits with how low scoring this game is. You know, that could just be one run, just could be the winner.
We will see as Connor Smith goes into the stretch for what feels like the first time in a while. I feel like that's the first Collegeville base runner in a few innings. That 1-0 is a check swing and a called strike.
I was going to ask, is that the first pickoff of the day for
That was the
Smith?
second. We had that pickoff to second base in the first inning after that Austin Frank double.
Right.
The 1-1 down and in.
Although I meant more for Smith.
Oh,
don't
yes,
think
yeah.
he's-
So I think that was the second one. I think now they've both got one.
Yeah. Say he just hasn't had base runners to pick off. Never mind like how many times you have done it, but
So I wouldn't necessarily call this a jam yet, but for the scenario of what this game's been so far, runner on first here, a 3-1 count, sort of feels like a jam.
Yeah.
That pitch is on the outside corner, according to the home plate umpire. That'll run it full.
You know, good framing by the catcher there.
Santora.
Yeah.
that was a little out to me, but
3-2, runner goes. Pitch is swung on, hit on the ground, foul down the third base line. You think that was a planned hit and run there, Tyson, or do you think that was just incidental, stolen base, swinging at the pitch?
no, I think that was planned. I mean, you look at the lead from Jensen, it hasn't really been that large, so it doesn't seem like he's too aggressive.
Runner goes again, the 3-2, upstairs for ball 4.
And on top of that, with all the other pitches, he hasn't really been doing a lot of moving, so definitely they thought 3-2, not many chances to score a run. We've been rolling it over a lot. Let's run the guy. Hopefully he'll be far enough ahead that if it is a grounder, he'll be safe.
So a big spot here in this bottom of the fourth inning for Kevin Riley. Runners on first and second, one out. Far and away, Collegeville's best offensive opportunity so far. First pitch to Riley way outside.
You can see there with Jensen sort of dancing around on second sort of proves my point. As soon as the second baseman came in, he took a big step towards the base. So it doesn't seem like he's the most comfortable base runner out there, but can certainly do a job.
1-0 in there for a called strike. Smith has his sign and comes set. 1-1, swung on and missed for strike 2.
Riley might have want to take that one back on that swing.
Yeah, he definitely did not seem pleased with himself on that. However, he'll dig back in here, facing a 1-2 count. The pitch, way up and in.
You almost wonder for Jensen Smith. Clear's figured out that he's not much of a base runner because it's just one look every time, and seems to be pretty similar timing. Jensen.
2-2 upstairs. That'll run the count full yet again.
Faster runner than Jensen might want to look at that timing just to see if maybe he could take third again. Not much either way for either team. Just getting that first run sort of to break the dam would be huge for Collegeville.
And absolutely in a game where one run could be the difference. Big pitch here from Smith. The 3-2. Fouled back.
I got it.
Hits the press box. Count will remain.
They got good windows out here in the press box.
Definitely feel safe and secure back here.
Yep.
We go again. The 3-2. Swung on and missed for strike 3. A huge second out of this bottom of the fourth inning for Connor Smith.
Yeah, there's not much better than that. And certainly for Riley, I mean, that seemed like the perfect pitch just to do something with. So for him to miss on that, just a sigh of relief for Smith there. Just unfortunate for Collegeville.
Mark McCouch, the batter here. First pitch to him is swung into center field for a base hit. Jensen being rounded home from third. He will score as Fitch's throw is cut off. An RBI single for Mark McCouch makes this a 1-0 ball game.
There you go. Now the dam is broken open, and again, that's the 5th hit of the season for McCouch in .455. I mean,
Certainly doing a job there, and that's just an ideal single right up the middle.
Yeah, no hesitation with 2 outs from the base runners. Jensen was off.
Yeah.
The head first slide there, even though the throw was cut off.
It looks like the coach is going to go up there, give Smith a little bit of a talk.
let's get him back centered again. You know, I thought the center fielder maybe hesitated a little bit on where he wanted to throw that, just sort of watching for if the
First baseman was going to cut it off or not, or run in for the cutoff at least.
yeah, I mean, to me, you would think the thought is throw towards home first. You know, if the first baseman doesn't stop it, the pitcher might, someone might. But again, with such a low-scoring game and such a low-hit game, you'd think, oh, come up just ready to fire and ask questions, you know, later in terms of who's going to cut it or if someone's going to cut it at all.
Right. So a pretty lengthy mound visit here for Towamencin. Connor Smith going to remain in the ball game.
I mean, he's been doing so well this whole time. I mean, even if, say, this is how the game ends, 1 run, 3 hits. I mean,
Oh my God,
that's
he's
a
pitched-
great day.
He's
It's
pitched
just,
fantastic.
again, this is with how low scoring it is. You might think, hey, maybe switch it up for a bit of momentum, or at the same time, we don't want it to snowball anywhere.
So still 2 away here. Runners on first and second for Johnny Giordano. That first pitch is down and out for ball 1. Collegeville now leading 1-0 here in the bottom of the 4th inning. One 0 on the outside corner. So we'll see after this mound visit if Smith can kind of compose himself here, take care of this rest of the inning, see if his bats can provide some offense. As that 1-1 is hit high in the air left side. The third baseman, McKenna, is going to be called off by Frank at shortstop, who's able to make the catch for out number 3. Collegeville, however, does take the lead on the RBI single from Mark McCouch. We'll go to the top of the 5th on the Sports Fan Base Network. Welcome back here for the top of the fifth on the Sports Fan Base Network. Leading off the inning for Towamencin, Colin Stocklin. That first pitch is in the dirt for ball one.
Yeah, the bottom of this order for Towamencin all have not recorded a hit yet, and certainly if there was time to get one, it is now, since finally someone has scored, and unfortunately for them, it was Collegeville.
Yeah, so Benny Wilson goes back to work here with a 1-0 lead. Up to a 1-1 count against Stocklin. The pitch drops in there for a called strike two.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful curveball right there.
Yeah, he definitely has had his off-speed working extremely well these last few innings. He's keeping Towamencin off their, off balance and second-guessing themselves. As you can tell by kind of that half-hearted swing there from Stocklin, just kind of chasing, doing anything to make contact. 2-strike count.
With kind of how high up his bat is over his head, I was almost thinking, kind of reminded me of Castellanos, and certainly, chasing stuff in the dirt, that's not inaccurate to Castellanos.
1-2. Hit right field, down the right field line. It is a fair ball. It'll go for extra bases. Stocklin rounds first. Giordano is up with it. Stocklin will settle in with a leadoff double.
That is huge for Towamencin. I mean, with so little going on in terms of hits, this is a big momentum changer. Certainly for Stocklin as well. I mean,
his first hit of the season.
Yeah, and that's not a bad way to start.
As he takes off his mountain of gear.
We'll see if that leadoff double there from Stocklin kind of rejuvenates this Towamencin offense a little bit. They were able to scatter a couple hits in the first couple innings and then kind of went cold.
Yeah, I mean, here for Bennett, at this point, all you got to do is, as long as you hit it to the right side,
runner's going to advance.
And that's going to be ideal. And he does more than that.
It does just that. It's going to get down right field for a base hit. Stocklin will score easily. Bennett's going to try for two. The throw from Giordano is going to be well in time. So it'll go down as an RBI single for John Bennett. And just like that, 2 batters in, Towamencin has tied this game at 1.
Again, with all the Phillies comparisons here, that almost looked straight out of Bryce Harper in terms of when you'd think not too wise to stretch out. But, again, just a great single, great piece of hitting. Nice and easy way to get a runner in.
So now a 1-1 ball game. Jack Kelly, the batter. So Wilson kind of loses that off-speed pitch there, flies way outside for ball 1.
A great play for Giordano. I should have mentioned it earlier. Especially, I'm sure Benny Wilson's very thankful. Start off the inning with 2 hits immediately, run scoring, and then turning one of those into a, basically a free out. Obviously, the run isn't what you want, but
you're at least able to salvage the out there. Yeah, fantastic play by Giordano out there on right. Empty the bases. 1-1. Swung, hit softly. It's going to be snagged by Wilson, who fires to first in time for out number 2.
Yeah, Wilson, he's just tall enough to jump up for
I was just about to say, Wilson using all of what probably looks like a 6'3", 6'4" frame out there. Outstretched arm and all. Be able to make that play.
Really seems like Towamencin, at least compared to previous innings, are really looking for his fastball. I don't know if maybe he's just leaving a little too over the plate, but seems like the last couple of guys, they're just really, really on it.
It's that first pitch to Nathan Woodbury in there for a called strike. And so 3rd time around now for Towamencin. We'll see if Wilson's able to at least prolong that into the 6th inning and see if he can get this 3rd out here in Woodbury.
Good check there by Woodbury. But no, that's sort of the 2 sides of that coin of getting that sort of first pitch fastballs or strikes, that if your fastball is hittable and the guys are ready for it, they're going to really get on you and really start piling up hits and runs.
2-strike count here. And after about 3 nods of the head no from Wilson, he has his sign and fires in there for a strike 3 swinging.
It seems whatever he disagreed with his catcher on, he was right to disagree, and certainly good strikeout, good way to get out of that inning.
Yeah, Wilson very confident there throwing that last pitch. However, Towamencin does tie this game at 1. We will go to the bottom of the 5th on the Sports Fan Base Network. Welcome back here for the bottom of the 5th on the Sports Fan Base Network. First pitch of the inning in there for a called strike.
I almost wonder if Wilson's going to be a little extra aggressive since Towamencin finally got that run. Maybe he's going to want to get himself some insurance.
Exactly. That pitch is lined to the second baseman. Stockland is up with it. Fires in time for out number 1.
Putting that bat a little bit towards the mound. Kind of interesting. Can't say I've seen that one too often. But honestly, a little bit more to the right, and that could have gone through. It had some pepper to it, and
it did. Yeah, that definitely was.
Turf.
It was stung. It was swung on pretty well by Wilson there. However, just as you mentioned earlier, not in the right spot. First pitch to Kyle Feaster in there for a called strike. 1-1 ball game here in the bottom of the 5th inning.
Unfortunately, we don't have the pitch counts on hand, but I imagine both pitchers still could, assuming no extra innings, go all the way until the end of this game.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, they both kind of ran into a little bit of trouble there. Obviously, they both gave up those 1 runs in their respective last innings, but
Feaster switching out the bat. I guess he broke it on that foul ball.
Maybe he heard something he didn't like and decided give a new one a go.
Just didn't mention earlier, he's going with a torpedo. Now that's a bit of a controversy in today's baseball world,
especially over the first couple weeks of the MLB season.
Yeah.
So we'll see here. We might have our first torpedo bat of this game, so we'll see how it goes.
Let's say.
Count remains 1-2. The pitch upstairs.
It's sort of interesting because I get the idea, the classic bat look, nothing to it, but at the same time, it sort of just makes sense. Like some guys, that's where their contact spot is. Why not manufacture a bat to do that? The fact that no one did it or it hasn't been done many times before, it seems silly almost that now it's a controversy of just moving a little bit of wood.
3-2 count here. The pitch. Whacked foul down the left field line, way out of play.
Fortunately, we're next to a street. Hopefully that didn't hit a car.
I got to say, I mean, that was the first swing with the torpedo bat, and that might have been the hardest hit ball of the game so far.
Yeah, there's something to it. Well, that was a very inside pitch, so could have just gotten that walk.
3-2. In the air, center field. Fitch going back, getting twisted. It's going to be over his head and get down. Fitch is up with it. Feaster will settle in with a one-out double.
Maybe you spoke a little bit too soon because that was definitely the hardest hit ball today.
It's got to be the torpedo bat.
Gotta be the torpedo bat. I mean, unfortunate for Fitch there. I mean, as a center fielder, there's not really much you can do on sort of those line drives. And it's just really hard to be able to tell when it's going to drop, when it's going to keep going, especially right over your head. So,
I mean, and you
just
see
well-hit
see
ball.
the 405 out there in dead center field. It's rare that you have a ball hit over your head
yeah.
in center field. And so I think it might have caught him a little bit by surprise. Regardless, one away with a runner on second here for Lancelotti. First pitch to him. Good discipline to kind of hold up there. Pitch was upstairs for ball one.
And I mean, not just the 405, but at the same time, I mean, not much has been really hit over guys' heads, at least not over the outfielders' heads. So as much as you want to be ready for every play, it can be tough. Sometimes you're sitting out there in the outfield, not much is getting hit to you, just not a lot's going on out there. It can be tough to keep that focus. And certainly when a ball is hit that hard, I mean, there wasn't much he could do either way, but it certainly doesn't help.
A ball's hit that hard, that's one way to get your focus back on.
Oh, yeah.
1-1 pitch here from Smith. Upstairs. Yeah, that's a good point. It definitely is tough to kind of to stay concentrated out there.
Yeah.
In a low-scoring game like this as an outfielder. Not many balls are getting hit your way.
I was gonna say, I think the most. Oh,
Pickoff attempt. They've got Feaster. And the throw is over the third baseman, McKenna's head. It'll get by, and Feaster will score.
Man, that is a lucky break for Collegeville. I mean, certainly Feaster is fast, so it makes sense that he's going for the steal, especially since Smith tended to go for sort of just a one look. But unfortunately, as I was grimacing with the other PFP, those throws, even though they're short, they can somehow they're so easy to lose. And I mean, even if third baseman there, even if McKenna caught that, it's going to be very hard for him to come down and actually make the tag. Although I guess that does still saves you a run.
Right. So a lucky break for Collegeville there. Unfortunate turn of events for Towamencin. That pitch is hit high in the air. It'll go back behind the plate to the right. Santora off with the mask. Is able to make the catch for out number 2. And so as I was saying, an unfortunate turn of events there for Towamencin. They had Feaster picked.
Yeah.
Smith made the wise decision to step off the mound and unfortunately just threw a little bit high to third base. And it's margins like that could prove to be the difference in such a low-scoring game.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing you could say that Smith could have done better is maybe just throw it a little bit earlier, just get it out of your hands. Let the infielders deal with it, as that is more of what they practice than yourself as a pitcher. But at the same time, I mean, good, better throw there. Feaster's out 10 times out of 10.
Cody Clark, the batter. That pitch just misses. Make it 1-1.
Yeah, almost until last inning for Wilson, but it almost seemed like they were sort of on opposite paths, where Smith was really hot early. Wilson sort of needing to work into it. And sort of as the game's gone along, it seems like Smith, as his pitch counts out, he's sort of losing it a little bit more, and Wilson's getting it on.
In the air right field. Kelly ranging to his right, able to make the catch for out number 3. However, Collegeville strikes back with a run of their own to take a 2-1 lead here. We will go to the top of the 6th on the Sports Fan Base Network. Welcome back here for the top of the 6th on the Sports Fan Base Network. Benny Wilson going back to work with a 2-1 lead. That first pitch is in there for a called strike to Christopher McKenna.
He's been pitching better and better every inning, so
You hope that you can just keep this run, sort of just ride out, with a not easy win, but certainly one that will go on his stat sheet.
That 1-1 is chopped softly right in front of the plate, and Riley's just going to tag McKenna nice and easily for out number 1.
Yeah, I sort of had the same idea as McKenna. I thought it must have bounced on the plate.
just went absolutely nowhere, and
That's what the ump called.
Yeah, that was a strange one there. I think in one pitch that kind of is the epitome of this ball game, just how soft contact that was. Not much going offensively as we sit here in the top of the 6th in a 2-1 game. First pitch to Austin Franken there for a called strike.
Yeah, he's really got that curveball right nice on the outside. And certainly for a first pitch, no one really wants to swing at that. So she's got that good spot.
0-1. Check swing and a swing for strike 2, says the home plate umpire.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that one.
Yeah, no really argument there from Frank. We'll dig back in here facing an 0-2 count. The pitch. Drops in there and is hit in the air right side. Giordano, long run for him, and he's able to make the catch. Hat falling off and everything for out number 2.
I was thinking he definitely had enough room. Didn't look like it was going too far. As you can see, with that catch, there's actually a little bit of bullpen activity
For Towamencin.
Towamencin.
A little bit of a preface here. We might get a pitching change in the bottom of the 6th for Towamencin, but we'll keep it right here for now. Aiden Fitch, the batter, with 2 outs. First pitch to him. Squares the bunt. Pulls back, and the pitch is inside for a ball. I believe that's our first offering at a bunt so far today. And kind of in a strange spot.
Yeah, 2 outs. Definitely not what I would think to be a bunt situation.
He's going to square again, pull back, and this time it's in there for a called strike. Interesting.
I mean, look, he's only got 1 hit on 8 at-bats and 11 plate appearances. Maybe he's just trying something else, or maybe they're just trying to throw Wilson off his game.
Doesn't square this time. Curveball in there for a called strike, too.
Seems like it might be the latter, considering he didn't go for it again right there. I think it's time getting to the plate.
Wilson has his sign and comes set. The 1-2. Outside. So it would be pretty big, to say the least, if Wilson can get through this inning 1-2-3. As I said earlier, with Smith facing the heart of the Collegeville lineup, Wilson now facing the heart of the Towamencin lineup. As that pitch bangs the windows of the press box yet again.
I think he was aiming for me on that one. Absolutely. And considering the fact that then he has really Santora and Stockland as sort of the 2 guys you would say have above averages so far for Towamencin, sort of.
That pitch is hit. Wilson using that big frame yet again, able to make the play for out number 3. So a huge 1-2-3, bottom of the 6th inning there for Benny Wilson. They are 3 outs away from a victory with a chance to provide some insurance. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th on the Sports Fan Base Network. Welcome you back here for the bottom of the sixth on the Sports Fan Base Network. Leading off the inning for Collegeville is Collegeville. New pitcher on the mound for Towamencin is number 11, James Crowley, making his first pitching appearance of the season. Now at the plate, he's batting .200 with 1 hit and 5 at-bats, but that's not going to do him any good here. In a big sixth inning here for his team, he's got to keep this at a one-run game. That pitch is fouled back.
Yeah, very interesting delivery there. Almost looks like he's sort of chopping it over his shoulder. Almost looks like he's always throwing a curveball with how he does it. But
he's got Jensen here out to an 0-2 count. The pitch. Swung on and missed for strike 3. So good morning, good afternoon, good night there.
Absolutely.
James Crowley's first at-bat. First batter he's faced this season. Can't get much better than that.
Certainly. I mean, with Smith having a bit more velocity, I guess they thought, hey, we'll throw in someone else that goes a little bit slower, sort of throw off their timing, and it seems to be working so far as he just loops that curveball in there.
Mike Hutchinson, the batter. Collegeville leading 2-1 here in the bottom of the sixth inning. 0-1 hit on the ground to the shortstop, Frank. He's able to make the play for out number 2.
It's crazy. You'd think, again, as I was mentioning with the velocity, that guys at this high level, it wouldn't really work. But sometimes you're so used to seeing, at least from what I can tell from here, sort of mid-80s, high 80s, maybe low 90s. When you got a guy throwing 70, it's really going to throw you off and sort of hard to adjust to, at least on the first time seeing it.
2 away here for Kevin Riley.
It certainly helps. He's thrown in the zone. He's thrown it right there for them.
And with how guys are rolling over, they're going to be really tempted to hit it and might overswing.
As that pitch is hit high in the air, left field, Woodbury started in and now is ranging back. He's able to make the catch for out number 3. So a 7-pitch inning there for James Crowley in his season debut on the mound. Is able to keep this at a 2-1 game and give his Towamencin offense a chance going into the top of the 7th.
You got to imagine for him, I mean, seeing Woodbury sort of go in first and then out, sort of cardinal sin of outfield is taking the first step in. But certainly being able to get that and get out of the inning so easily, it's a great start for him.
We'll take a break and go to the top of the 7th on the Sports Fan Base Network. Welcome back here for the top of the 7th on the Sports Fan Base Network. Benny Wilson back to work here, 3 outs away from delivering a Collegeville win.
It's a complete game at that as well.
Justin DeCesar, the batter, check swing, and a swing for strike 1. Wilson kind of stepping off the mound here. Compose himself a little bit, has his sign and comes set. 0-1. In the dirt.
You know, the first warm day of a season, and by warm I mean very warm, because it's definitely warmer today than it was a couple weeks ago when they played the Aces. It can take a bigger toll than you would think.
That pitch is hit shallow right field. Long run for Giordano. Sprinting in, he's able to make the catch for out number 1.
It was great there that he called.
That, just that being in between the center fielder and the second baseman and him. Very easy to sort of have a lapse, no one calls, and then a big collision, get some guys injured. So
I'm going to be completely honest. I thought that was trouble off the bat. That looked like it was one of those no man's lands type of hit.
yeah, it's right in the Bermuda Triangle, but
Giordano showcasing his speed there. He was full sprint to make that catch.
yeah. And considering where he's setting up, he must have had a really good jump on it, because it's pretty far away from at least the end position of where that ball was caught.
Santoro takes that strike.
0-1 count here, 1 away in the top of the 7th.
Yeah, as I was alluding to earlier, sort of that first warm day can certainly take a toll on a pitcher, and it doesn't help that that first warm day is also on turf and how it just bounces all the heat back, as opposed to on grass where it'll at least absorb some of it for you.
1-1. In there for a called strike 2.
Maybe a little pitcher friendly, but certainly, I mean, he's been dealing all day.
I was just going to say
that
was a pretty nasty pitch there. I think that was, not a bad call from the umpire, just unhittable almost. The 1-2, way outside.
Yeah.
And the last thing you want to do here for Wilson is kind of lose an at bat here and kind of put a runner on base that you didn't necessarily, you didn't really need to. Kind of lost that last pitch there. We'll see if he can bounce back.
And I believe Santora, we saw earlier, has a bit of speed.
The 2-2 is fouled back.
So if he gets on, certainly with sort of a do or die situation, you could be thinking of stealing, doing something tricksy to mess up
Wilson.
So Wilson has his sign and comes set. 2-2. Fouled back yet again. So I believe we're going to have a pinch hitter here coming up for Towamencin. That's number 25. Get a name on him in just a second.
Yeah, Dino Libery. This is going to be my first guess on that one. A library.
We'll go again here, the 2-2. Hit left field. It'll get down for extra bases. Hutchinson is up with it. It'll be a 1-out double for Santora.
Just a well-hit ball. Now I'm curious, thoughts on sort of the pinch hitter here, just because
I believe number 25, he hasn't really been doing much all day. Do you think maybe...
And Stockland's last at bat, I believe he hit that double.
Yeah.
So we'll see if this decision for Towamencin pays off. As we're going to get a mound visit here for Collegeville, and that this might be the end of the road for Wilson. Maybe not yet. He hasn't gotten the ball taken from him, so there is action in the Collegeville bullpen, however.
yeah, it just seems like the coach going out there sort of telling him, hey, guy gets on base, that's probably going to be it. And that's definitely a fair call with the number of pitches he's thrown so far. He's definitely going to be tired. And with how close this game is,
You don't want to give up anything easy. But I'm also sure that coach, he certainly wants to give Wilson this win, and certainly wants to give Wilson this complete game if he can throw it.
But a huge 1-out double there from Santora. Puts a runner on second base. That first pitch is inside for ball 1.
little close for comfort there. Just under his elbow. And curveball drops. Again, you almost wonder if maybe you could have leaned a little into that one, get away with it.
Yeah, similar to earlier in the game. As that one does hit him, and he's not able to get out of the way of that.
But
So it went from potentially leaning into a pitch to not being able to get out of the way of a pitch.
and here comes the coach, as sort of stated. Although, funny enough, you almost want to give him one more just because, got one out. Now you have an easy double play as opposed to earlier where there's one out with just the guy on second. We're going to be able to change that, but now we got a pitching change.
So we have a pitching change. We will step aside on the Sports Fan Base Network. Welcome back here, top of the 7th on the Sports Fan Base Network. New pitcher in the game for Collegeville is number 21, Zach Steiger, making his first appearance of this young season in a big spot. And by first appearance, I mean his first appearance in total. He doesn't have any hitting statistics or any pitching statistics, so kind of thrown right into the fire here in a huge spot in this top of the 7th.
I say John Bennett, who's hitting, he got his first hit last at bat. So he's feeling a little momentum as well. So, say into the fire, almost into the magma, as it were, you got a hitter going, and it's your first appearance, period.
Even more so now. Down 2-0 in the count, way upstairs. That'll make it 3-0. So you got to imagine if you're Bennett here, you are not swinging at this pitch.
Absolutely not. You just got to look. And certainly there was a time earlier in the game.
And that's not going to matter, as that pitch is way outside for ball 4. It'll get past the catcher, Riley. And that's going to load the bases here for Towamencin.
Yeah, I noticed in the first game of the season against the Aces, sometimes Riley, he likes to go for the pick instead of the block. And obviously here it doesn't really matter, but again, it's just not something you really want to get too much into the habit of doing. As it appears something stuck in his eye, I'm guessing something of those black bits that just fly up when a ball bounces.
Yep, typical turf infield. So not a great start there for Steiger. A 4-pitch walk to Bennett will load the bases here for Jack Kelly. Infield in for Collegeville. They're going to try to prevent this go-ahead run as that first pitch hits Kelly. And just like that, this game is tied.
Man, that's
a disappointing
the worst
blow
start you could possibly get for Collegeville.
And now they've got the benefit of the home away here where it's the top of the 7th, and they've got the chance to just pile on some runs here. Bases remain loaded with only one out. Will be the leadoff hitter, Nathan Woodbury. Collegeville infield going to remain in on the infield grass.
You could have debated last at bat maybe having the middle infield back just to keep that double play possible. But now you have to have everyone in just because
You got to prevent the
run.
You got to prevent the go-ahead run now. Steiger finally throws a strike there. That'll make it 1-1.
Now Woodbury is going to turn that switch off, saying, "Okay, now I can swing." Because I mean, is that 6 balls in a row?
And now finally a strike. So
1-1. Upstairs, 2-1. We're going to get some more bullpen action as well now for Collegeville. See if Steiger can kind of right the ship here. 2-1. Up and out for ball 3.
You know, as soon as I say that, Woodbury might be turning that switch back the other way because now it's 7 of 8 pitches have been balls. A lot of them just really high, really not in the zone. As you see the shortstop and the second baseman trying to...
Yeah, that's Jensen and Lancelotti.
Yeah.
Jensen kind of initiated that mound visit, called for time. Just go over there and kind of calm Steiger down a little bit.
It seemed like a good shortstop there. It seemed like he just told a joke, try to get him to relax a little bit. Certainly tense situation for Steiger.
We'll see if it pays off here. The 3-1. Down for ball 4. Woodbury walks, and Towamencin takes a 3-2 lead.
Now another mound visit.
So Steiger, unfortunately for him and for Collegeville, unable to kind of get out of that jam. As it still presents itself here, bases loaded, still 1 out. We're going to get another pitching change for Collegeville, and we'll step aside on the Sports Fan Base Network. Welcome you back here on the Sports Fan Base Network. New pitcher in the game for Collegeville, number 14, Chase Fisher.
It's a nice first pitch strike there.
Yeah, Fisher's 3rd appearance. He's pitched 2 innings so far on the year. He's walked 2, struck out 4, hasn't given up a hit. Coming in a big spot here. His goal is just to keep this a 1-run game. The 0-1 in the dirt. Nice block by Riley behind the dish.
Unfortunately, if we thought before with Steiger that he was getting thrown to the fire, I mean, Fisher Now going against McKenna, 286 average, and then Frank, unless he gets a double play here, with 429 average. So we're going to have to do some work to get
The 1-1 swung on and missed.
Collegeville out of this. 1-2 count here.
Christopher McKenna, the batter. Digging in here, facing a 1-2 count. Collegeville infield remains in. They got to prevent any run that they can at this point. The 1-2 is inside.
You know, we've been talking about the field all day. This is almost certainly the worst kind of field to have infield in for, you know, with the turf being so fast.
That ball's going to be coming in hot.
You're going to have to be real ready in that hot corner.
2-2. Outside. That'll run the count full.
That's certainly the last thing Collegeville needs is another walk.
Towamencin threatening here. Rallying in the top of the 7th. They've taken a 3-2 lead with the chance for more. The 3-2. Hit in the air. Shallow center field. Feaster is going to make the catch. Runner does not tag. That was Bennett over at third. And not a bad throw from Feaster. A little bit up the line.
A little uncomfortable for Feaster considering he had to go so far over to his left. You'd think he'd maybe keep it a little lower. At the same time, certainly a good throw, and certainly good that he got over there the way they did, and he was able to at least set himself up a little bit to attempt to make the throw home.
So 2 away here. Bases remain loaded. The batter will be Austin Frank. This is a huge matchup. Frank came into today's game batting .455. He is certainly the guy you want up at the plate if you're Towamencin. First pitch to him, up and out. If you're Towamencin, the goal is just to add some insurance here.
Absolutely.
And Austin Frank is definitely your guy. Fisher takes a deep breath, has his sign, and comes set. The 1-0. Gets by the catcher, Riley. Bennett's going to try to score from third. The throw is not in time. That'll certainly go down as a wild pitch, I'd imagine, for Fisher. Bennett able to score from third, and that'll make it a 4-2 game.
It's almost feels like a little bit of payback because Collegeville, they were able to get their run off of the wild throw from the pickoff, and now a wild pitch here by Fisher.
Bennett kind
And
of
also
took out the
landing
legs
on
of Fisher.
This way that
Tough
Have
play all
Towamencin.
around there. That pitch is swung on and missed for strike 2.
Those plays are always tough as the hitter because
That might have actually
So
that might have only
thrown
been
off.
strike 1. It's either 3-1 or 2-1. Kind of missed the umpire signal there.
Yeah.
The pitch. Hit foul into the Towamencin dugout.
might be mad at someone in there. Who
A
knows,
lot of
but
red shirts ducking over there to our right.
You know-
I don't blame them.
you know, previous versions of the field didn't even have the fence and sort of the outside. It was just stairs before, so you certainly got to keep your eye out still, and you had to keep your eye out back then.
Pitch is hit deep center field. Feaster going back. He's able to make the catch for out number 3. However, Towamencin scores 3 runs there in the top of the 7th to take a 4-2 lead. We will go to the bottom of the 7th on the Sports Fan Base Network. Welcome you back here for the bottom of the 7th on the Sports Fan Base Network. James Crowley coming back to work here. His Towamencin offense providing a clutch 3 runs there in the top of the 7th to take a 4-2 lead. See if Collegeville can respond here down to their last 3 outs now.
I mean, they got McCouch, who's hitting very well so far, and Giordano, whose last at bat he did get his first hit of the season. So
that 2-0 is in there for a called strike.
Can't imagine a much better pitch to swing at. Again, it must be tough just with the velocity difference.
That pitch is swung on and missed for strike 2. Yeah, it's almost frustrating in a way for Collegeville. It's such a drastic drop in velocity that it's almost the same as a drastic increase in velocity. You're not used to seeing something like this. That pitch is hit on the ground to the third baseman. That is McKenna, who's able to make the play for out number 1.
You know, almost in a way, sort of a perfect call for a place like this, just because with the slow velocity, it doesn't help the hitters very much. And so when you're trying to keep stuff in front, especially for the outfielders, but certainly in front of the infielders, you know, not having sort of much velocity given away sort of makes it easier for those infielders to work with this turf.
So 1 away here for Johnny Giordano. First pitch outside for ball 1. The pitch swung on and missed.
You know, a great day here for Giordano, 1 for 2 when it comes for his plate appearances today and that great play in right field. Certainly hope he can create something here.
So that pitch is tapped foul behind the plate. That'll make it 1-2. And for Collegeville, your mindset is kind of just get a base runner. It starts with 1. That's exactly what Towamencin did in their top half of the inning. And just go from there. The 1-2 popped up in the infield. All players converging. It's going to be the shortstop, Frank, who calls everyone off and makes the catch for out number 2.
Tough there for Giordano. The pitch was already low, but again, with the hard to tell if it was the selected pitch, whether it was a curve or if it's just the low velocity. It probably dipped even more, and so he tried to compensate for it and gets under it.
So Collegeville down to their last out. Benny Wilson, the batters. That pitch is chopped on the ground to the shortstop, Frank, who's up with it and fires in time for out number 3. So Towamencin, using a 3-run top of the 7th inning, is able to take this ball game by a final score of 4-2. They will improve to 3-1 on the season, where Collegeville falling to 1-3.
You really got to feel for Benny Wilson for Collegeville. Did so well for 6 1/3 innings. He walked a guy, gave up a single, but all things considered, to lose by
A tough break, absolutely.
3 batters walked in. It's just not the way you want it.
Collegeville, they will be back at it tomorrow at this same ballpark when they play Valley Forge. Towamencin's next game not until the 10th when they take on the Conshohocken Commodores. So final score of today's ballgame, Towamencin 4, Collegeville 2. We thank you for watching and listening on the Sports Fan Base Network, and we'll see you next time.